What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video of the Visionary Pulse. I am your host, Abdi, and let's jump right into this. Now, first of all, I would like to apologize for not posting any videos for the last 2-ish weeks. I've been on vacation. I went to Mexico. It was heavenly. Best place on earth. 10 out of 10, would highly recommend. Now that we got the administrative stuff right out of the way, let's jump right into this. First of all, we're going to talk about what is actually a recession. What does it mean? 2, what you could do to get ahead. And 3, some possible good news for the future of my channel. Now, before we get into the topic of a recession, we need to understand the concept of a GDP. Now, what is a GDP? It's called the gross domestic product. Now, the gross domestic product refers to all the services and products that are sold in a given economy. As my old economic professor would say, it's all the haircuts and bus rides that are in your economy. Now, a recession occurs when 2 consecutive quarters have a decline in GDP. Now, in the US, there actually has been a decline in the last quarter, and now they are waiting on the next quarter, which I believe the information is coming out in July 28th. This will indicate if 2 consecutive quarters were in a decline. However, in Canada, we're not actually seeing a decline. We're seeing an increase that is actually fairly steady for the last 7 quarters. Now, the thing is, you don't need to be in a recession to really feel kind of the effects of a recession. The effects of a recession is usually when the output of the economy drops, as well as the drop of employment. So just to clarify the situation, we are not currently in a recession. However, we are feeling the pain, where everyone's feeling the pain, but it's not technically that kind of pain. Which brings me to my actual point of why I made this video. Now, the reason why I made this video is I wanted to explain why this particular situation, even if you would call it a recession, is not actually like any other recession. Each recession is usually based on an external factor that is kind of causing catastrophic failures throughout the economy. Now, for example, in 2008, it was the subprime mortgage, which kind of affected everything. Now, when that collapsed, it affected all the economy, and then everybody didn't want to spend any money. Everybody got fired and all that stuff. This time, it's not like that, because believe it or not, the employment rates are actually at the highest levels they've ever been. The problem is everything costs so much. Now, this time, it would be actually called like a controlled demolition. So it's the governments that are wanting to put some cold water on the markets so they can cool them off. So it's not actually an external factor that is kind of out of our control. It's an artificial demolition that is caused by the federal banks of the world. So the reaction of the economy was, well, I don't really need to panic because this is kind of a expected outcome. So I don't really need to fire everyone. Like, we're not all going to die. Like, this is not going to be the end of the world. But the output is going to be dropping a little bit. So a lot of businesses are actually saying like, hey, let's just wait this out. This is not actually a real recession, right? So as soon as we get through this little bit of a rough patch, we're going to be going back as business as normal, and we don't want to let go of staff, because first of all, it took us a lot of money to get these staff because everybody has a higher standard of working nowadays. So it's pushing businesses to really offer very competitive and livable wages, well, more than usual. So they worked really hard to get the staff, so they're definitely not getting rid of it anytime soon. So these companies are really expecting a drop in demand, but they are expecting it to pick back up once the interest rates stop fluctuating so wildly. The second thing about this particular controlled demolition, if we say, is the existence of zombie companies. Now, I have to shout out my boy PBD from Valuetainment for pointing this out. This is actually a very well-known phenomenon, the effect of a zombie company. Now you would say, what is a zombie company, Abdi? Well, let me tell you. So a zombie company is actually a company that is not actually profitable. So the very basic of a business, be profitable. Without profits, you can't live. So these zombie companies have leveraged tremendous amount of debt and venture capital to stay afloat. One example of this is actually something that you all use, which is Uber. Uber is a very unprofitable company, even though you might say, hey man, these rates are astronomical. How are they not making any money? I know, but Nonetheless, they are very, very unprofitable. Now, the effects of a zombie company is actually very bad for the economy. The goal of the economy is to keep the healthy companies, and so that the less healthy companies die. It's something similar to natural selection. The problem with zombie companies is that they really affect the rest of the economy because they're still there being propped up with steroids in forms of low interest loans. They really should go out of business. But the problem with going out of business is not when you don't have profit, it's when you don't have cash. And they've been flush with cash in recent years. But that is beginning to change. And PVD was actually mentioning that we actually need this controlled demolition. This is something similar to an analogy that I would say. It's like a fire in a forest that has grown too wild. So you really need that fire, that forest fire, so that it kind of gives the opportunity to the whole ecosystem to reset and not let things get too out of hand. So while this is actually a very difficult moment that we're all living in, it's actually kind of necessary because a lot of these zombie companies are really dragging the whole market. An example of how they can really drag the market is they offer a product or service that is unprofitable, kind of beating out the competition. But no matter how many of these products they offer, they're still remaining unprofitable. So it's really affecting the other companies that are profitable, that, keep an equilibrium into the economy and really getting them out of business, but they stay in business even though they're barely making any money. Anyways, long story short, we need these companies to go out of business so that the healthy companies can really thrive better and offer better solutions. And like I said, like taking medicine, it's not great, but you kind of need it. So now, what do we do if it's an actual recession? First of all, I would like to premise this by saying, not financial advice, just some dude on the internet. While you might think that the booming markets is where most wealth or wealthy people are created, it's actually in the recessions. Now, this doesn't mean that they're necessarily doing something illegal or unethical, while a lot of them do. It's usually because they're solving a problem. And honestly, in our system, we need more people who solve problems rather than create them. The trick with this is why it's so hard to achieve is that usually when there's economic uncertainty, people are not as willing to spend and not as willing to lend you money for your idea. But that's exactly when you should do it. The results really yield a better solution or a better product or a better service for the economy that we all thrive with, and subsequently making you a lot of money. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to do this thing. There is one way that you can set yourself up for it, which is fairly simple, but very difficult, is really increasing your cash position. Cash during a recession is king. It's number one, number two, number three. So when an opportunity arises, you're really primed for using that opportunity versus the people who are really working hard on keeping all of their cash. One simple thing you can do, which I am doing, obviously not financial advice, is to really invest into the stock market, even though it's still crashing. It's been shown that most crashes and most recessions are followed by very high booms where most of the losses that you've incurred investing during a recession are made back after. So I'll tell you what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm just continuously investing into the stock market, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And that's been shown to be the best strategy because that's usually when the best trading days are. So, and they're unexpected. Like you don't see like, oh, it's starting to go up, so I'm going to invest. That's what everyone does. Don't do that. Just keep investing steadily and continuously into the market, and that usually gives you the best returns. And third, I got some exciting news. I am actually going to be posting videos on my second channel. It's going to be like more lifestyle stuff, not really business oriented stuff, but I'm on quite the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kick. So if you want some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu content or fitness content or travel content, all that stuff, I'm going to be posting anything that I want to post, not relating to finance, in that channel. I've actually got a pretty significant goal in mind for this YouTube channel. So if you wish to join the Abdi Show, link down below. Now, thank you everyone for watching. I am very happy to be back. I'm ready to get back to work. Now, if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe, or do none of those because most people don't do any of those. So Thank you very much for joining me on another video. I am your boy Abdi, and I'll see you next time. Waba!